The sound of silence. All right.
See,
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hope you're all doing wonderfully well today. We're going to get started here with Tea with Lee and teachers in just a couple of moments. First, somebody's going to have to make Lee a co-host so that he has the power to unmute himself. And also, we're going to make sure I get a thumbs up from the team that we are streaming live successfully on Facebook.
Yes, we are live and direct to Facebook.
Hello, everyone on Facebook. Hope you're doing well. We are going to get started here in just a moment. And if you haven't already, go ahead and pour yourself a cup of tea because it's going to be a wonderful tea time with some of our Holden Qigong teachers and students who are participating in the teacher training program. And we got Mr. Holden standing by. He's over there drinking some tea. How you doing over there, Mr. Holden? Gonna have to unmute though. He's still gonna have to unmute.
I was just saying some very profound things about warm wishes in 2022, and great to have everybody here. It's gonna be a good year. Lots of Qi.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We all are pulling for a good year. Some people call it 2020 part 2 or round 2.
Hey, we know more now. We know what to do, which is more Qigong.
Yes, I agree. Great. So here's how this is going to go, everyone. We are going to hang out after we go through our meet and greet with some of these wonderful teachers. The next opportunity, then later, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. We are going to get started momentarily with just kind of going through and chatting with each of the teachers and have a little introduction. And each of them will be able to tell their story a little bit. And later, when we do the Q&A, we'll get through kind of as many as we can, both in chat, mostly here in Zoom. So if you're watching over on Facebook and you'd like to participate and get your questions answered, please feel free to pop over to Zoom in time for the Q&A session later. There will be a Zoom link. It'll be posted and on a pinned comment there in Facebook. So please feel free to do that. The questions that get dropped in Facebook, our team will do their best to answer them. And if they can't, they'll send you over here to get your questions answered or let you know how to write into support and get your questions answered that way. Questions today are all focused on our teacher training. Since we're doing a big promotion right now, that's probably why most of you are here. This is the time of year when if you're interested and you're thinking about joining the teacher training, it's a great time to get started with that process. And we're going to go ahead and also another thing to note is we're not going to get into a big description of the teacher training. We're not going to tell you all about it. There's been a lot of links going out there in the world and people know how to find it for the most part. If you haven't had a chance to look over the big page about it, please look that over. If you're looking for the specific requirements, they're in the FAQ section. In fact, a lot of stuff, if you just have specific questions, they're probably answered in the FAQ section on the teacher training page. So go find that. It's down near the bottom and you can click any of those and open them up and find your answers. So that's a good place to check first if you're a little bit confused or you're wanting to get clarity on specific details. And here we have it. So let's see, any other preliminary thoughts, Mr. Holden, before we dive in and start talking to one of our New folks, Bill Turner.
No, I'm just excited everybody's here. I'm so glad we're kicking the year off with this program, and a special, I think, as we always talk about this program, yes, is to share Qigong with your communities, with your friends, your loved ones, integrate it into your work, start a new career, but it's mainly for you. It's mainly for you to take your practice to the next level, and doing the training is really all about that. Is really doing a deep dive into this beautiful art that will help you navigate the course of your life with all its trials, tribulations, joys, wonderful experiences, and integrate all of that, and then be able to share from experience what that is like from you and for you, and bring that into into the communities that you care deeply about.
Perfect. Very well said. That is right. A couple of questions coming in the chat that are in a category we're not going to answer today, such as, why do you sometimes tell us to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, and other times tell us to breathe out through the mouth? That is not what we're here to talk about today. Normally, when we do a tea with Lee, that's exactly the kind of question we're going to answer. But today we're really focused on people sharing their teacher training stories. And incidentally, you may see some people in Zoom have their hands raised. Those are actually the people that we're going to hear from today and who are going to share their stories. So please don't raise your hand, because we won't actually call on you unless we already prearranged to talk to you today. So that's what's going on. That's how we're going to do it. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Mr. Bill Turner.
Okay.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Ben. How are you? Well,
Good, thanks.
Lee just said everything I was going to say. So beautifully. I don't know how I can top that, but very glad to be here.
Well, the good news is that you don't have to, but instead, we want to hear your story. We want to hear from you and get a sense of who you are and what you're doing around here. So why don't you first just give us a very brief introduction? Say, I'm Bill Turner. Where do you live? What are you, what are you about? What do you do,
Okay.
etc.
Yeah, my name is Bill Turner. I live in Sisters, Oregon. I'm an energetic healer. I've been doing that since 1991. I'm fairly well known for my work with competition horses, and worked on them for 20 years, but also work with people, dogs, and land healing. And right now I've been doing a lot of distance healing. I've really been doing that for since 96. So that's how I make a living. And I started out in the martial arts in 1978. And that was back when everything was kind of full contact. And I got into Qigong in 1983. I really didn't realize in the 70s we were doing iron shirt when we're pounding on each other. But in I think it was right around 85 or so, just to give you an example of kind of the style and my background in Qigong, is my instructor taught me an energy collection exercise, and that just really resonated with me. And I thought, God, this is cool. And so the next class I went back and I said, Anchi, I really like that. What's next? And he said, what do you mean, what's next? And I said, well, I'd like to learn more. And he said, well, here's the deal. You do that for this exercise for 10 years, and then you get back with me. And so that's kind of the traditional factor that I've trained in with Qigong for all these years. And I've taught seminars, I've taught kids in schools how to breathe and Qigong ideas. And so it's been just a great journey. And then 2019, I was diagnosed with cancer at the right side base my tongue.
Mm.
And so coming from very traditional style, a lot of standing exercises, a lot of energy connection exercises or collection. But I knew I was going to need a stronger team. And I had seen Lee's videos. I kept an eye on him going, man, this guy is super entrepreneurial. It's fantastic. But I knew I was going to need help to make me do Qigong every day. And so I purchased Lee's Health and Wellness DVD, and literally did it every day, whether I felt good or bad. It had a number of practices on that particular DVD, so it was good. I could kind of vary it. But the thing that impressed me the most is that Lee brought a practicality to it and made it easy. And I was able to follow that for 40 minutes on a daily basis. Result-wise, I mean, my doctors were like, well, your blood work's always perfect, and you've just got a vibrancy to you. And then I came out the other end. I'm 2 years out, a little over 2 years out now, and all my tests are great. There's no sign of cancer anymore. And so I really, as a part of my team and a major piece of the pie in helping me, Lee was there. It's like I wanted to invite him for Thanksgiving. He's so helpful. And but that's why I joined. And because I wanted to take a deeper dive into the Tao. I saw Lee's style, I saw his expertise, and I wanted to learn more.
Well said. That's a very similar reason to the reason why I'm here and Holden Qigong exists.
Okay. What a way to come into it, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you decided to join the teacher training, and at a certain point in that process, so all this has been unfolding, and you've managed to sort of defeat the cancer, which is amazing, and congratulations. And at some point you decided, I want to be a teacher, or maybe you just decided, I want to dive super deep into this. So what were you thinking when you decided to join the training, and what was your vision for using that knowledge from the teacher training?
Well, I've already been a teacher for a number of years, but it was really been to take a deeper dive into it. I don't know about anybody else, but you often, like, you'll get a book on Qigong, for instance. And then the first 100 pages are dealing with the 5 elements and the Shen and the Qi and the Jing. And, I'm kind of reading through that, getting a basic understanding of that, but then moving into the exercises and stuff. I really felt, in what I read about going into the program, that it was time to gain a deeper understanding of the 5 elements of the Jing, the Qi, and the Shen, and also just taking an opportunity to work with a Taoist master. I've had the opportunity to train with martial art masters through the years, and have trained with a few Qigong masters and seen them live, but I just didn't want to miss this opportunity to continue for my own personal health, for my own personal knowledge, and then to be able to share that with my clients as well.
Well said. Lee, any questions at the moment?
I mean, I just love your story. I think Sisters, Oregon is an awesome place. I love your martial arts background, working with animals, and I think it's so cool. Speaking of teaching, you know, as you do this training, you end up teaching to people and groups that are very unexpected. I remember teaching a group of caballeros, these ranchers, and we did Qigong, and they did a whole weekend workshop, and they sent me pictures later of doing Qigong with the horses, and even doing Qigong when they were, you know, giving horse riding lessons, and how helpful it was to do a little Qigong with new people that were afraid of the horses, get them in a nice calm state, and then the horses respond and the animals respond in a much cleaner, clearer, relaxed, peaceful way. And I thought that was just an incredible experience for me to be able to train Qigong in this different circumstance than I'm normally used to. And I've definitely been there with your martial arts training, getting one Qigong exercise, and you're like, oh, that was so great. When can I get a new one tomorrow? No, see me in 10 years. And I just was like, hey, wait a second, I'm not going to be here in 10 years. I'm in China, or I'm in Asia, and I have a week. And, you know, somehow being not from there, I was able to glean a lot more exercises, practices from these masters than maybe if I was a traditional student. So great to have you, Bill. Love to hear your story. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, just to just take it one step further on with the horses, and like the centering and the balancing exercises that I've learned with you. I'm sharing that with some trainers that I'm working with, one in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and she's helping her students, because if you're breathing and getting grounded yourself, the horse immediately feels that.
Yeah.
And if you're not grounded and if you're not balanced, the horse feels that too. So, so it's really great. So being able to add that in, little tidbits to help people and helping the animals, that they respond.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So cool.
So Bill, one clue as to how you're using your certification at this point is that you're helping people help riders and helping horses, or helping people with horses. How else are you using your certification at this point?
Yeah, Ben, I'm mostly using it with my distance clients, because what I do with them is I do like 3 energy treatments on them a week, and then we have a one hour coaching session per week. And then as they knew I was going through this program, they kind of, you know, got updates with me. And so they said, well, will you teach us some of that? And you know, I've been teaching them breathing and getting calmer and that sort of thing with breath. And so I'm adding this in as an extension to the coaching time of talking, is more now working with Holden Qigong information and the 5 elements and how that can apply to their life. And I've got, if I can share quickly one wonderful little story. I've got a 76-year-old client in Las Vegas, and she was recommended to me from a friend of a friend. And so she had problems with her lungs. She had kidney stones, spine problems, difficulty walking, had pain with that. And so I had the opportunity, I worked with her 2.5 months, and this is just last week, I talked with her about results from a CAT scan, and the doctor wouldn't give her the results over the phone, which is usually not a good thing. So she was nervous about that. She's a retired nurse, so she knows what to expect, but she went in to see the doctor who she'd been going to for 10 years. And he said, Diane, I just want to tell you that your lungs are clear. Your kidney stone has gone from 7 millimeters to 5. And your spine looks great now. And she goes, yeah, because I'm walking around and I'm dancing and everything now. I feel great. And he went over to her, as Diane explained to me, and said he'd never touched her, but put his hands on her shoulders and looked her in the eye and said, "You're a miracle."
Mm.
And I just want to tell you, just whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Mm.
And, it's a beautiful story. But she was someone who did the breathing exercise, working on 3 in, 3 out. And we worked with her on sound healing and the colors and the things that I learned in the program that I really hadn't been doing before. And you're never going to know if they're going to work until you use them, right? So, and they did. So it was like a Christmas miracle. Stuff like that makes my day. But
Me too.
You sharing that, Bill, makes our day too. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Lee.
Yeah.
Excellent. So Bill, if somebody were to jump on the phone with you and ask you about joining and, looking at your own experience, what would you say to somebody if they were thinking about enrolling right now?
Well, it's a real personal choice, but first of all, never lose the opportunity to train with a Taoist master. You never know where you're going to find him, but I can guarantee you we found one here. And it's so great because Lee guides us gently, or you might say kind of through the kiddie pool a little bit, and eases us down into the neck deep water. And all of a sudden we're in a deeper pool. And now, after finishing and gotten my certification on Tier 1 and working in Yin and such, now we're doing laps. And so it's a complete process that it's challenging at times. It really makes you grow. But health-wise, it's hard to beat. And, I really think for anybody, I know for me, and just speaking for me, it's really been a kind of a gateway for me to, even with 35 years of experience, it's opened other doors. And one of my teachers many years ago, he said, you don't have to have it all figured out. Just go through the door that's open to you that day. And I'll never regret walking through that door and signing up. But I don't want to take up any more time here, but I have to share this because I saw this last week on TV on a documentary on John Madden, who they covered his life, and he was looking at this screen, and then the screen went blank at the very end, and he just sat silently. And the last thing he said, because he passed away like 5 days later, he said, it made me realize what I didn't realize. And I've been thinking about this for a week, and to me, it completely explains this program, and it explains the Tao better. But Lee has showed me and helped me learn what I didn't realize, and I'm forever grateful for that, Lee. Thank you. And so I'd say, join up. It's a great team. The support team is incredible. The master classes are great, and it'll change your life. And I guarantee you that.
Beautiful. I love it.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, Bill. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your coming on and sharing your experience and your story and your energy with us. And yeah, good luck. Keep working on that Tier 2. I'm glad to see you're underway.
Oh yeah, thanks.
We're here to open the doors.
And you are doing it, sir. That is for sure.
when you go through a door and you're like, oh my God, this is an incredible room. You want to share it with people, just like you just got to do, Bill. So we appreciate that.
You bet, Lee. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Okay.
You're muted, Ben. You're muted.
I was trying to mute Bill, but he muted himself. So good job. Next up is Carolina, but I need you to raise your hand. I'm looking for you, but I'm not finding you under the C's. So whatever Zoom name you came in with, now is your chance to raise your hand so that we can bring you on up here, Carolina. Or maybe not yet. Perhaps she had to step away. We will move on for the moment and circle back. So next up is Jeff. Jeff Newland, here we go.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Hey, Jeff.
Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah.
Sound great. Nice to see you, Jeff. Welcome.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, just kick things off, a real quick introduction. Who are you? Where are you? And what should we know about you?
All right, well, my name is Jeff Newland. I am in Middle Tennessee. I am a clinical director for a substance abuse co-occurring mental health disorder facility. And I got started with QiGong. Really, it was Lee, whether he realizes it or not, just him being more personable, because I had practiced yoga for probably about a year once before. Then I moved away from that setting. It can become pretty intense. And if you walk away from it and then try to return back to it, it's kind of like lifting weights. It doesn't really flow as easy. And so then I started trying to practice Tai Chi, and I found some good instructors. But I think there was a cultural barrier there. Worked with them at Vanderbilt University. But anyway, I found Lee on that Yoga Glow app.
Mm-hmm.
He did the Dao Yin on there, and his way of explaining it, his way of he just seemed very personable to me. And what I tell everybody today, he westernizes it a whole lot. He kind of removes the spookiness of it or any of the Eastern philosophy stuff that people get a misconception of. And so he just brings it to a more practical level. And so it was during the pandemic that I just said, you know what? I said, I've been doing this Dao Yin for over a year now. I said, there's got to be more to it. And so I just Googled Lee Holden is what I did. And I found that, and that's whenever I signed up for the teacher training.
Well said. You hunted him down.
Right. Yeah.
I'm glad some of those Yoga Glow folks have migrated over into our world. They're a great group over there, and the owner of Yoga Glow is a big Qigong fan, and she was like, "We got to get more Qigong on this site," and that's when she sought me out.
Yeah, the Dao Yin is awesome. Because
it really is.
Before I became a clinical director, I was a primary counselor for substance abuse, and I had used it with some of the clients. And after doing a session of Dao Yin, I don't know how many of you what you know about addicts and alcoholics that's in treatment, but I mean their moods were elevated. Those that were naturally extroverted became more playful and less aggressive. Those that were more introverted, their moods were just better. I mean, smiles were on their face. They weren't quite as outgoing as the extroverts, but I mean, you could just see the difference. And it was like less damage control had to be done that day. And the only thing different was that I taught Dao Yin, you know? And then as for me, while I was doing Qigong, once I started doing Qigong, I had an issue with my blood pressure. My blood pressure was stuck, couldn't lower it. They tried medicine. They did all the heart scans and all that stuff like that. And they just accredited to a high stress job. Well, after about, I'd say 2 or 3 weeks. It was less than a month. I know that I had been practicing Qigong on a daily basis, and my blood pressure just naturally came unstuck.
Mm,
Um,
wonderful.
and, yeah. And so that right there was enough for me. But there was a lot of other benefits that came along with it. I'm real big into spirituality, prayer, meditation, all that good stuff. And I don't know if anybody else can relate, but from time to time, in times of prayer meditation, your mind tends to birdwalk because your mind doesn't remain in the present as much as you would want it to. And I noticed that after I practiced Qigong, my prayer time and my meditation time became more efficient. I was able to calm down. I was able to get myself in the present. I was able to, self-regulate a whole lot easier and a whole lot better.
It's a pretty powerful benefit of it for those of us who are sort of on a spiritual path. It's sort of like it's kind of a cheat code to being able to drop into meditation, and that's why we do it, so often right after class. Is that you're already in the body, you're in your energy. It's sort of like you're able to kind of bring yourself into that mindfulness place without waiting, counting breaths, just sort of doing the more traditional mindfulness stuff, which is terrific if it's terrific for you. But it never really worked that well for me personally. I'm too active in the head, I think. And doing this type of work really allowed that to sort of happen naturally. And then I could build on that because it's like I knew how to be in my body and in the present moment, which I've never really was able to figure out sitting on a cushion counting my breaths personally. I've always been a little jealous of the people for whom that works, but I'm just not one of them. So sounds like you're in good shape. So let me make sure I heard you correctly. You did a bunch of Dalian, you just kind of kept doing it on Yoga Glow for a long time. And then you went and searched Lee Holden and immediately joined the teacher training. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, anyway, I have some impulsivity and I have some addictive behavior myself. And, but I've always been kind of an extremist anyway. And it's like, it's go big or go home for me. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then of course, in the back of my head, this is the thing, is that I came out of the penal system many moons ago myself. That's why I started helping the population that I help now. And so I knew that if it would benefit me, that I would turn around at some point and start offering to the same population.
Yeah.
Because it's just a huge, it just makes a huge difference in your life, all the way around. I mean, because we're a whole person, and like all the different exercises and practices and modalities that are out there tend to focus on one area or the other. And where Qigong encompasses the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, it encompasses all of it into the one practice. And I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well said. Well, it sounds like you're putting your certification to very good use at this point. And is there anything else that you want to tell us about how you're actually using your certification in your work or separately?
Well, I am going to, I'm right now actually looking, with me being clinical director, I will not be able to continue to teach the Qigong actually to the clients that we get. So I am looking for a Qigong instructor here in the Middle Tennessee area. Just throwing that out there. But I'm going to hopefully eventually move it into the prison system. Right now it's just in the substance abuse and mental health clinic and sober living houses. And but I'm really hoping that I'm going to eventually get that door open to where I can take it inside the prisons and be able to utilize it with the inmates, and just hopefully have the same effect, where their moods will be elevated, be less aggressive, and be more compliant, and just in turn make them a more productive citizen of society.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think it's so fascinating. One of the things that I've really gotten a lot of joy out of over the past several years is watching so many folks come in and join the training for their own purposes. And some of the people who join the training are really, really interested in becoming a full-time Qigong teacher, becoming having a class, and that's what they do as a primary thing that they do. Some of them are coming in because they have a job opportunity at a local, whatever, fitness club, health club, treatment center, pain center, senior center. There's all sorts of places that are starting to wake up and be like, we need to find a Qigong teacher, kind of like you're saying about your situation. And then there's people who are on their own mission, and they realize that these skills, these capabilities, these techniques and tools are so invaluable that they can help with their mission too. We've had so many different people coming for so many different reasons, for, like a psychologist who's on a mission to help people get off of pharmaceuticals and antidepressants. And so they come and they learn how to teach Qigong so that they can share that as something that's part of the puzzle, a piece of the puzzle on the mission that they're undergoing. So hearing about you and your mission to help people in the penal system, I mean, I think that's so needed. And it's very uplifting that somebody's doing that work now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be practiced along with real therapeutic counseling as well. And so it helps them where they can, once again, it's where they get their minds more focused so that they can receive the new coping skills and the new cognitive direction and everything that they need, because when you're coming off substances, your mind's all over the place. And, it's hard to even get them to sit still in a group. But then once you practice the Qigong with them, then all of a sudden they're able to sit still in the group and listen to the furthering of the therapeutic services. It's just awesome, man.
Mr. Holden, do you have any particular questions you want to ask? Or?
I mean, I think it's so many great points here and so many inspirations. I think, addiction is such a huge thing to be able to address and to use these skills. I've always thought that Qigong would be a great adjunct therapy for people in recovery. It's such a replacement. So it's not just a stopping of one thing, but a replacing it with something else. And you do feel that upliftment. You feel that high on life, that high on energy, rather than on an external substance. So it's a really great skill set, something that's so empowering for that community working on recovery and self-improvement and whatnot. I think there's something really there, Bill. And then I just love it that you're bringing it to the prison system. I mean, my dad was a judge. I have a long history of judges in my family. And I think that would be such a cool thing that we bring Qigong into the penal system that helps people with that kind of recovery. And I mean, what a fantastic thing to be able to integrate into that group of population as well.
Heard that. This one's Jeff, by the way, actually. Sorry, not Bill.
Oh, yeah, Jeff. There we go.
You knew that.
Jeff, I need to come out to Tennessee. I've never taught Qigong in Tennessee. So let's do it. I did have somebody in my workshop from Tennessee, and they never, by the end of the week, their Qigong was good, but they never could say Qigong. They always said Qigong. So
Remember that.
There's that.
That's great. Jeff, what would you say to somebody who's thinking about enrolling right now?
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, it just really doesn't, to me, I mean, it's a great opportunity. I mean, especially to have someone such as Lee. Like I said, he was very personable. I mean, he breaks it down so in a way that once again, it removes that cultural barrier, because I have tried Tai Chi and other forms like that, but there was a cultural difference or barrier or whatever you want to call it. But with Lee, he made it to be, I guess, like Bill said, a step-by-step wading you through into the waters where you didn't feel overwhelmed. You didn't feel like, oh, am I doing this right? Or is this the right way of doing it or anything like that? And he just broke it down in a way that, I mean, you can learn it easy. And just the benefits. I mean, I just can't express that enough. The benefits of it far surpasses anything else. Like I said, I mean, everything else that you do in life, it focuses on one certain area of your life, where Qigong encompasses your whole person. And why wouldn't you want to just be a better person? And then, of course, take it to your community. I mean, of course, that's just me, but I'm just saying, I just think that's the way it needs to be done.
Well said. Very good.
Mm.
Very good. Well, thanks, Jeff, for coming in and sharing your experience and your story and your mission with all of the folks here. It's very inspiring, and I wish you the best of luck, because, boy, if you can succeed at bringing this deeper and deeper into the penal system, obviously it's going to make massive change in the world that we need. So thank you. Wow. I'm already very moved. And
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's amazing to be, like I said, seeing all the different people and all their missions and how this plays into all of it. And it makes sense. It's the self-care part of an entire medicine system. It's good for a lot of things, which is hard from a marketing standpoint. But once people turn that corner and go, wow, like this helped my whatever, or this helps me level up as a human being, really is what it comes down to. It's like nothing else. For so many of us here, there's this really stark dividing line of life before Qigong and life after Qigong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like two different lives. And so obviously that's the case for the people we've heard from so far. Next up, we're going to hear from Morgan. Morgan. Let's see where we are. Did we find you? I think we can hear you.
Hello, hello.
Yes, we can. Hi, Morgan.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on today. We're doing well. You're a little faint, so do speak up if you can.
Okay.
Great.
Will do.
So tell us, hello. Hi, Morgan. Tell us who you are, where you are, and just a little bit of whatever we may need to know about you.
Hi, everybody. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now. It's a bit cold and windy, but staying warm, keeping my feet warm. And I've been teaching and practicing yoga for 20 years or so. I started getting into yoga in my teens because I was really good at moving around. I was doing a lot of soccer and taekwondo and ballet. That was like my history of movement. But I didn't really know how to take care of myself, like on a more of like a stress or emotional level. And so, and taking care of my body too, like they're all interconnected. And so I started taking yoga, and that was really inspiring. I loved the way it made me feel. So I started teaching it. That really stuck. Did that for 20 years, and I still do it. I teach in the style of Yin Yoga and restorative yoga mainly. It's like very slow and nourishing.
Beautiful.
But kind of over the past like maybe 8 years or so, I started just really wanting something more. I wanted a greater skill set, and I wanted to provide for my students with different skills. And I wanted those to be really accessible. And that's like one of the main things I was looking for. How do I find something that's really accessible, but also really effective and powerful for a variety of people experiencing a variety of things? And I looked around and I tried different things. And then I experienced it just took a couple of Qigong classes. And
Wow.
um,
Quick.
it was very quick. Yeah, it was a very good teacher. I had a really great Qigong teacher. But it was just wild. I was able to actually feel what I was looking for. And so that became kind of like a no-brainer where I was like, okay, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. And then from looking around, I just started kind of Googling with the power of Google. And from looking around, I found the Lee Holden training program. And it was just like so well put together and had these payment options that everything just kind of collided, and it was really the right time to do it. So yeah, now I'm here.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah. Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
When did you actually sign up for the training?
I've been taking it slow. I think I signed up probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And one of the things I loved was that it's self-paced.
Yeah.
I tend to do very well when I can like digest things fully through my body in like tactile ways. So I like to take my time with that. So then when it's my time to like actually speak about it or teach it, it's like I don't really have to think about an intellectual concept, but I can instead just go by experiencing it. So it's been good. I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt a little bit to like, get to the end though too.
Well, it's been an interesting couple of years as far as everybody's plans,
Yeah.
what they thought they were going to do. So I think you can give yourself a little bit of a slack on that right now.
It's been nice. It's been grounding, really nice to have something to work on and have things to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such an interesting thing. The way that the tier 1 is structured as a self-paced program. We do kind of drip out the content over the course of 16 weeks for anybody who's just kind of in a hurry and wants to get through it. It's possible to do in that kind of 6 months to certification timeframe if you're really putting in many, many hours a week and just kind of dedicated to pushing through it.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the folks who have become certified did it in a much slower way. Anywhere from like 1 year to 3 years is kind of a valid range, and that's all good. If it gets to be too many years, we'll probably have you do some extra one-on-ones with some senior instructors and just kind of make sure that you're not coming back after having done some of the coursework 3 years ago and hoping it all stuck. But if you're consistently doing the practice, and I think that's one of the things that I think is helpful for people to understand is that it is self-paced. It is really up to you what your particular reasons and your particular goals are, and whether those goals require you to kind of push through and get certified in the shorter term, or whether you want to more fully digest every meal and really spend time repeating the content and going deeper into the principles so that you internalize them at a different level. And I think it's just, everybody's different in that way. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing it your way.
Yeah. That's what's nice about the program, like the ability to do that and return to things again and again. And I'll repeat classes and realize like, oh, just learned something new again.
It's true. It's true. One day we'll get you through tier 1 and you can start working on because it goes even deeper.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing to know is that tier 1 is tier 1. It really is. Our goal is to have sort of a 200-hour certification that's kind of same size and shape as the many other certifications out there, yoga or otherwise. That is kind of the baseline of, okay, now I understand enough to go and help people. And that doesn't mean I've become a Qigong master overnight or in 6 months.
Yeah.
It means I understand enough to be able to go out and help people in a confident way with good depth of knowledge. And then from there, it just gets deeper and broader over time. So as we get into higher tiers over time, obviously the not just the depth, but the breadth of knowledge that you'd be able to bring to bear will expand. So it's
Exciting.
it's terrific to see you kind of getting that, that baseline, but also I'm looking forward to seeing how far you take it.
I feel like I'm on the right path. So
Absolutely. What intentions, if any, do you have with your certification? Like, once you get certified, what do you plan to do with the knowledge and the experience that you've gained?
I already currently have a lot of students that I'm working with them on pain management and quality of life. So I really intend to have the skill set that I'm learning contribute to that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it provides so many skills for longevity and practices for that. And so I do plan on working with my students in that pain management and quality of life and just like positive life habits that they can then feel confident to practice on their own, and kind of like where little practices can become like daily vitamins for them.
Lee calls those tea breaks.
Tea breaks. And I know that the training, like besides contributing it out, just from taking it, it's just been such a great positive thing for my own life. So I know it'll contribute to my own longevity.
Absolutely.
I'm calling it vitamin Qi now.
Vitamin C.
Vitamin Qi. I get a tea break, take my vitamin Qi. I love that.
Like that.
Yeah, the long, it's a long game, really. And I one of the things that I find often is the case is that the people who commit to the teacher training kind of overcome some of the inertia of like their practice is kind of inconsistent, and maybe it starts and stops a little bit. And often, not always, but often after somebody says, you know what, I'm going to go deep. I'm going to learn the principles. I'm going to actually study this in this meaningful way, whether they ever intend to teach or not. It just really changes the level at which they have committed to their own practice. And often it's easier to maintain or to more quickly kind of get back on the horse if their practice fades or flags. And certainly in my own personal experience, my intention when I started coming to all the teacher trainings, there wasn't an online option, certainly, and it wasn't self-paced. It was you show up for 2 weeks, you get ridiculously high on Qi, and then you hope you took good notes. That's pretty much what was available. I mean, this is how most teacher trainings are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so really being able to continually review, as you say, when you review, you see the next piece, you see the next element, you see that next thing that you didn't see. It's kind of like when you certain movies that are very complex and rich, you watch it again and you're like, oh, I didn't even notice that the first minute, and it's starting to click in a new way. Having that luxury now, I think, makes it all the more valuable for somebody who just really wants to commit to deeper practice.
Yeah. These concepts, these things that are being taught that Lee teaches so well. I loved what Bill said about like starting in the kiddie pool and then going down into and doing laps eventually. But it's so cool to experience these like almost intangible concepts and to feel them tangibly. Like that is just, it's wild. And I think having the time to go back and repeat and to do it again really contributed for me, for sure.
Fantastic. Lee, any other thoughts or questions for Morgan?
I think it's just wonderful. I'm hearing people speak to little moments in my teaching career. You know, working with the Bay Area Pain Management Center was really an interesting experience for me. And I designed a bunch of their programs. And then my sister came in and stayed with them for years and years and years, did Qigong and meditation, and had such good results in the pain community. There was one of the bigger pain and wellness centers in the Bay Area in California. And a couple of times I'd walk in, and then the waiting room, they'd be playing my DVDs. And I'd talk to the receptionist. I thought this was really funny because I saw, 20, 30 people in the waiting room. Nobody was doing Qigong. They were just watching. And I said, oh, do they ever get up and do it? She said, no, but they never complain about how long the wait is. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. That's kind of invaluable at a doctor's office. So I thought that was a funny experience with it. But the pain management with Qigong can be really profound.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And again, it's one of those things. It's just everybody's got their own mission, or a lot of folks show up with their own mission. Some people, their mission is our mission, which is share Qigong with everybody and become a Qigong teacher. But other folks, it's, like you said, it's like you're working with this particular group of people on particular things and giving them another tool in the tool belt that's just such a profound tool and has so much broad applicability and such positive side effects, as I like to say.
It includes more people. It has this ability to include more people going through more things.
Well said. Last question. What would you say to someone thinking about enrolling right now?
I can confidently say that from teaching yoga for 20 years, I've had my share of trainings, and hands down, this is the best training that I've experienced and done. And it's for all those reasons that I've said, or Jeff and Bill have said so far. But I've never experienced quite so much depth and in quite so much depth in those like tangible and digestible ways. It is so generous in the way that once you purchase the training, you have it, you can keep returning to it. It has really great payment options, for being able to parse that out. So it's one of those trainings where you might be thinking about signing up and to teach it, but when you sign up for it and you go through it, you're going to realize that it's just like this library of knowledge and education that keeps giving to you. Like you'll have this knowledge and education for the rest of your life. So very valuable.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Morgan, for sharing your experience, your story, and your journey, your ongoing journey that I'm sure glad that you're here, and wishing you luck in your process of working with the pain folks and helping people feel better. Beautiful. Very good, folks. We've got a couple more superstars to talk to here, and just wanted to take a moment. We're going to take about another 25 minutes is our scheduled time, but afterwards, anybody who wants to is welcome to stick around. If you have questions, we're going to open up the questions in the chat today and let you ask them and try to just answer as many as we can. And stick around as long as we're able. If there are more and more questions, we'll answer more and more questions. So that's sort of what we're going to do after our scheduled time. But we're going to be doing talking to a couple more great teachers here for the next 25 minutes or so. And also for those who've been asking, yes, there will be a replay. We will post this on our YouTube channel later today. And also we wanted to let you know that there is a opportunity for those of you who are on the fence and uncertain about it and just want to talk to somebody. So what we're going to do now is share a link in the chat for those who want clarity and want help getting to clarity. If you do schedule a call, the folks who are going to be answering the calls, so what we're basically offering is an opportunity to schedule a call. with an existing instructor, somebody who's been through the training or is going through the training, who is going to be able to just kind of help you get to clarity. And these aren't salespeople. These aren't sales calls. We really call them clarity calls because they really are helpful in getting to personal clarity. This is 100% a personal decision, whether you want to join or not. I always say, every time I ever did one of these calls, the answer is, you need to understand and how to trust, your intuition. And if your intuition's a strong yes, then you should do it and let the chips fall where they may. But if it's a no or a not now, you need to honor that. And so everybody that you might talk to, if you do make a call, is going to be coming from the same place. We're just here to share our own personal experience, how we are going through it, what it's been like, and the details, if any questions you may have that they can answer or help you get answers to, and just sort of an idea of how to get to clarity. So if you'd like to schedule a call, you're welcome to anytime. Basically, the way that we're doing this is anybody who schedules a call before the offer period is over, which is Friday night at midnight, January 7th. That's 2 days from today. Friday night at midnight Pacific time, the special offer goes away. But if you've scheduled a call by that time, even though the call may not happen for another few days or next week, or it might be sometime later in the week, next week, that's fine. We'll still honor the special pricing for this deal at that point. So just wanted to open it up. There's been a lot of folks with questions, and then, I know how much it can help to just talk to somebody. Again, not a salesperson, but somebody who's been there. So that's why we wanted to make that available. The link is in the chat. Amber's been putting that in there, and we'll continue to pop that in there periodically. Thank you, Amber, for helping us out with that. So if that's you, you're welcome to jump in there and take a look and schedule a call. Meanwhile, back to our regularly scheduled show, which is already in progress. And next up is Jill Ann. Hi, Jill Ann.
Hiya. Good to see you all.
Good to see you and that beautiful art behind you.
Oh, yeah, I'm lucky. My brother-in-law's a painter.
Very lucky. Fantastic. Well, Jill Ann, tell us just a little bit about who you are, where you are, and anything we need to know about you.
All right, I'm in chilly Woodstock, New York today, and been living here for the past 30 years. And I have been a dance educator, a movement and dance educator for the past 30 years. So I work with adults, but I work a lot with children. And that's one of the applications that I am eager to continue to grow with the Qigong training. And I was introduced to Qigong from a dance mentor professor of mine. And I took a class with her online at the beginning of the pandemic. And at the end, she said, and if you want to know more, my teacher is Lee Holden. So
wow.
I was excited to follow that link and found Lee and actually jumped into a 5-day challenge. And after that was like, okay, I'm going to do the subscription. And it was perfectly timed with the beginning of the pandemic and needing some structure and more discipline. A lot of my work had fallen away, so I wasn't really quite sure how I was going to be Zooming or not with my students. So I started doing the subscription and spent basically 6 months doing that and coming to a lot of the calls, and it just became a great framework over the next 6 months, and was like, this was really nourishing. And because I had been an educator for a long time, whenever I'd see friends, I was like, hey, you want to try something, my latest practice, and whatever I was feeling really embodied about, I'd be like, well, let's do a little knocking on the door of life. So I just felt like there was that natural desire to just share it. And Lee always says that. And it's like that. It's like, you have this gift and you're like, hey, come be part of this. So that happened a lot for me, even in the early months of the subscription. And then come September, I decided, okay, I'm going to do the training. And that seemed just very timely. It just gave it some good thought and said, yeah, I'm ready to do it. And it really was a deep dive for me. I spent a year doing the program. And basically the way I did it, I would go through each week and I would go through it once and then I would go through it twice. And when I felt I had really embodied what was happening in that particular week, then I was ready to go on. And I didn't pressure myself like, oh, you're not keeping up. I just followed what felt really right and clear in my body and my, my understanding. And another thing I did was I reached out in the community group, the Facebook page, and I asked if anybody wanted to be in a little cohort so that we could meet weekly. And so it was great. We had 6 people who met weekly, and they were from California, New Mexico, New York, and England. And we met weekly and we went over the quizzes together and we challenged each other. And then we became accountable to each other. Like, okay, how are you doing? What's holding you up? Where are you? What kind of support do you need? So that was a great piece that our group made happen, and that really supported me through the program. I really enjoyed that. And I jumped right into doing some teaching, and a couple of times I've been on the talks and said I work for a dance company, and we Zoomed to India early on in the pandemic, and we worked with children in a foster home, bringing them Qigong, and did that for a year. And that was just beautiful, very special experience, very early in the morning, and to meet them when the sun was out. And that was really special. So that was my first group of students, young students who I worked with, and they were really very responsive. And because they're from India, I feel like they were more able to drop into some of the meditative practices because it was already culturally something they were more familiar with. So that was my first group. And then I continued to have opportunities to work in the schools through Zoom with particularly young elementary school age children. So that was very sweet. Kids who were, at home, this is the one thing that pulled them out of their beds and their chairs and said, this is something you have to do standing up. So that was great. I felt like realized that one of the great gifts of Qigong was that the releasing of stress, allowing the children to feel their own aliveness during this very complicated time of the pandemic. So I felt the children were very responsive. And as Lee always says, the animals, they love all the animals. So we did lots of swimming dragon and tigers and doing a lot of sounding. And I think they really came away just feeling a lot of personal strength. And so I've just had wonderful opportunities over the year to offer Qigong to special ed students in a high school. And that's been just such a gift. We taught them online for 10 sessions and then recently went back and got to meet them in person. Cool. And that was just really, really special. And some of the moments that were incredible were the teachers were deeply affected also. So the teachers participated in the Qigong sessions with the students, and a lot of the children who were teenagers really, who were not very articulate, after they did the Qigong, they were actually able to articulate a lot of emotional intelligence. They were actually able to speak. The teachers were like, there was one student, Elijah, who they literally said, we've never heard him talk at all. And after doing Qigong, and I would always ask in the beginning of class, I'd always say, take a moment to shine a light and see where you are right now. Where are you in your body? Where are you in your emotions, in your mind? And then at the end of the class, do a little arc and say, so now where are you at the end of class? And they would say things that just all of us would just be flawed. I mean, this one young man just said, I just feel determined. I mean, and they had never even heard him speak. And there he was just speaking about this sense of personal integrity and wholeness that was beautiful. And another young girl, Hannah, who spoke about feeling connected to her spiritual self. I mean, and this is in public education. So not that many people are speaking about their spiritual lives in public education. So those are
changing the game.
incredible gifts. And the school was also really taking huge strides in dealing with trauma, that the whole entire staff was doing work about being trauma informed. So I think this is really, Qigong is at a junction in our culture where it's beneficial on a deep, deep level for staff development. And I've been able to work with some other staff development at migrant education, and people are really feeling the necessity for something to relieve their stress, to get through a lot of the hardship that people are feeling in the pandemic. So I feel just so such incredible gratitude to be able to offer this, and it's served me so well over the past year and a half. So
beautiful. Wow. Very, very touching story, because it's, in much the same way that we've been talking about with these folks and their individual missions. Boy, the children, man, the earlier we can get them, like I said, there's that turning point for so many people, life before Qi and life after Qi. And the earlier that turning point can happen, the more life they can have.
yeah, I feel like simply just inviting children to know that they have an inner world, that there is an inner path. I mean, in public education, nobody's saying that everything's coming from the outside, and to remind them that there are things that are really within you that are your own truth.
Yeah.
And so I feel so really moved by the power of Qigong in those settings.
Nice. Yeah. Jill, you were actually quick on the draw when we put out a call for do any teachers to share their story? You were very quick on the draw. So what inspired you to do that and reach out so quickly? Why was that just sort of an immediate hit the button and say yes for you?
I guess I feel like it's really changed my life, and I'm happy to share the array of experiences I've had since. The doors that have opened have been very interesting. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, just like the flow is there. Things are just moving in new ways in my life, and less effort. I mean, I've always been a very willful person, and I'm kind of I'm also a little older, so I don't have to push so hard, and then just allowing the things to unfold and the gifts come back to me. So yeah, I just felt like I love what I do, and I'm happy to share it.
Beautiful. I love that. Lee, any other little questions, comments?
I think so much was there, especially with the kids and bringing Qigong work to children. It's near and dear to my heart. We've talked about different programs in a variety of different ways, and so it is definitely percolating in my consciousness about this always. And just even being a parent, just trying to say, hey kids, let's do some Qigong, and just seeing where they really resonate with the practice, and where they're maybe a little bit more indifferent and things like that, and what would really work to bring it to that particular audience. I think it's a very rich topic to excavate.
Yeah, I'm just chuckling because I'm thinking about the beautiful use of poetry in Qigong. The language is so beautiful. And I have this, whenever I do the pump, I always call it the swing. I go, let's go out to the playground,
Oh,
and
perfect.
this little boy was like, he just could not wait to tell everybody that he has a swing outside and he moves like his swing.
So great.
He was a third grader, and he was just so thrilled because he recognized that there was a relationship between himself and something outside, like the natural world in him. And that was just a beautiful bridge. All the teachers like, do you see how thrilled he is? He was just couldn't wait to share that.
Unbelievable. How cool.
Yeah, very
I love it.
tender.
I love it.
And I think people also don't underestimate that children are spiritual teachers.
Absolutely.
And you give them the space to expand like that, and it just blossoms. So
yeah, right. Beautiful. Thank you.
So welcome. Great to be here.
Thank you, Jill.
And also, just to say one other thing, is that the incredible sense of community. Like, I feel like it gave this practice and this year gave me an opportunity to create more community, like for friends that I was far away from in isolation. I was like, I have my Woodstock friends who I can't see in person, but we gather once a week, and I have my friends in other parts of the world. And it's just, it really is an opportunity to build community. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, that is definitely a big goal of ours as a team.
So Jillian, last question.
Oh,
Yeah, I think you know what it is. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about enrolling right now?
I would say that if you're looking for an opportunity to take a deep dive and into your inner path and connect to yourself in a deeper way, it's a beautiful opportunity, and it's really a deep learning on many, many levels. And Lee is a compassionate human being, and he's very authentic. You'll get that gift. And yeah, it's a beautiful unfolding. And so if you're drawn to it, just follow that call.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jillian, for sharing your story and your experience. And I'm so glad you're in our community and helping to share the love with one another and all the people out there in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
See you again soon. Oops, I think I accidentally hit there we go. Folks, we have one more superstar teacher left. And in fact, this is one of the people that you may end up seeing a lot of in the master classes and potentially working one-on-one with as you get close to finishing your training. This is a senior instructor in our roster who we'll hear from next, Kelly Baker. Hello, Kelly Baker.
Hello, Ben Cox. Hello, everyone. Hello, Lee. Hello, Jill. Hello, Morgan. Hello, Mike. It's so many friends here. And I so appreciate what you've been saying in terms of community, because as we meet each other through this connection, the community builds and gets stronger. And it's one of the things that I enjoy so much about Holden Qi Gong land, is that we stay with each other, we stay connected, and that can be across many miles. In fact, I have students, I used to live in the UK, and I have students that are still there. I now live in the Hudson Valley in New York. I have students here, and we can all get together, not only on Zoom and share practice with each other, but I'm very aware of that group energy field that as we practice even across the miles. And what a beautiful thing to have in this day and age, when the earth and ourselves and our souls and the people that we are in contact with could really use some uplifting. So yeah, love the connection. So good to see you all. matter of fact, I'm going to change my screen setting so I can see all of you while I'm chatting.
Beautiful.
Oh, and by the way, welcome to my studio. So this is my guest room studio. And if you are joining the training course, and if you come to do a one-to-one sessions with me, or you see me in the master classes, this is where you'll be. So you already know a place. And Christmas decorations at the moment. It will change through the seasons.
I love the Christmas decorations, by the way. I've never seen it in this season before, and it's really beautiful. It's really touching. Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm inspired often by the lovely flowers and changing natural decor that I see at the Qi Studio in Santa Cruz. And when I too join the video classes. And I think something I would want to share is that even though I have been with Lee and with these practices for just starting my 9th year, and these are pretty much everyday practices for me, there is something comforting about going to the Qi Studio, even if it's online. And I am always learning more. Some of the teachers here have talked about depth, diving in. And one of the things I so appreciate is that I've been doing this 8 years and I'm still diving in and I'm still learning. And that's not necessarily about learning new moves. I come from a dance background like Jill, and know what it's like when people want to learn some new moves. And I go, yeah, sure, we can learn some new moves. For me, that's the surface. That's the surface of the water. When we go back into the same practices with more knowledge, more comfort, more familiarity, it gives the opportunity to deepen the experience, and an experience that's quite subtle, which is Qi. And that subtle Qi experience can become stronger and stronger, more therapeutic and more uplifting by revisiting the moves. And I am so grateful that I get to do the video classes and revisit the moves and Lee's wisdom and go into the recordings as well, the recordings of the training. I still go back to them. Why? Yeah. Because I go, oh, I want to do a workshop on such and such a topic. I think I'm ready. I want to do a 3 treasures workshop. Let me go back in to the material, and then I hear it. It's the spiral. It's the image of the spiral. I hear the material again. I see it again. I experience it again. And yet at the same time, it's new, it's richer, it's deeper. There's that, oh, I never heard that before. Or I never quite understood that before. And ooh, I get it now, or I get it now in a new way. And I find that very exciting. So
fantastic.
Speaks to the richness of the material, the teachers, and the program.
Indeed. Well said. The richness of the material, the teachers, and the program. Do you hear that, Lee?
I love it. So good to see you, Kelly. So good to hear from you. Kelly and the Qigong journey goes way back, and just funny coincidences all over the place all the time when you're working with Kelly.
All kinds of synchronicities, including how we connected and where your East Coast trainings are. That's a story. And even just the other day, I was doing a one-to-one with a trainee who is currently living in Denmark, and she's actually from Russia. She was saying that she's from Russia, and I said, "Oh, we're in Russia." And she said, "Well, I'm from near Irkutsk." And I went, "I've been to Irkutsk." Now, you don't get that conversation very often with people.
No, you don't.
I've been to Siberia. Well, yes, in fact, I have. And then we had this lovely, spontaneous connection about a very special place in the world, the nature, and a lake that's part of it, that is in that area, is actually like it's like a kidney. It filters the blood. It filters the water of our earth. And so we had a lovely connection there.
How fun. Amazing.
Ben, what do you want to ask? I'm in a very happy mood today.
Happy
Um,
Qi.
Call that Qi.
Happy Qi, happy Qi. Ben, is there something you want to ask me about in particular? As
Well, I
my
mean,
role as senior trainer or something, or senior instructor?
yeah, so I think really just a couple of things. One is you have a movement and dance background and have brought a lot of, principles of alignment and movement and so forth into our program through your master classes and so forth. But somewhere along the line, back in the beginning, you decided that you wanted to join in the teacher certification program and become a Qigong teacher. So what was the impetus for that in the beginning for you?
Oh, lovely question. So I was a ballroom dance coach and choreographer and Argentine tango choreographer for the UK version of Dancing with the Stars, and was in a car accident, sitting at a traffic light, red light, nice sunny day, guy hits me, hits my car, and I had whiplash badly. So I, at that time, needed to give up my dance teaching career, which was extremely traumatic. I was traumatized by what was going on in my body and full of fear as to what my life was going to be like next, since I was a mover and a teacher. And the synchronicity happened, and I discovered Holden Qigong. I discovered Lee, and this was my therapy. First and foremost, this was for me to one of the biggest thing I realized, and it's something that I really emphasize sharing with others, whether they're my personal students or trainees who come for mentoring and one-to-ones, is that you do what you can. And movement could be smaller, it could be larger, can change from day to day, but moving is better than not moving. Moving comfortably and gently is profoundly therapeutic, and it unwound my bound muscles. The moving with softness, moving with patience, moving with flow, and letting that be okay. And move, as Lee often says, when you slow down the movement, the mind calms down. That was big for me. And I had a huge aha moment, was basically, I am going to teach this. This is my new career. And what it gave me was movement. It gave me a spiritual underpinning to all of this philosophy of life, and a win-win. Just a huge win-win. I'm going to do it anyway. It's good for me. I can share it with others. It's good for them. And so every time I teach a class, I'm getting the goodness as well. It's people say, well, you've taught 3 classes today or 3 one-to-one lessons. Is that depleting? And I go, oh my gosh, no. I feel so charged up and buzzed and full of life force when I finish my classes and private lessons, because I am hopefully practicing what I'm preaching. And as one of my master classes that is in the library that when you join, you'll have access to, is called Embody What You Teach. Embody what you're teaching. So it gives me great sense of, I'm going to say power, I mean it in a nice way, power that I'm being the pebble in the pond. And as a teacher, when you learn to be in your energy and to share that with others, that's the pebble in the pond that radiates outwards. And other people get that through your words, but also just through your own energy field. You're vibrating good, on a good level, on a healthy level, on a supportive level. And I'm really glad that I've learned how to do that, and it gives me great gratification, and to share it with others.
Beautiful. Well, there are a lot of others that have benefited from your desire to share with others around here, actually, are students. So you, just to sort of solidify what I said before. So Kelly is a senior instructor who has not only become certified, but now is teaching other students who are going through the training in their one-on-one lessons, one-on-one sessions. So we have, as part of the training, you do get a couple of one-on-ones, and Kelly is one of the people who is available to, you could book with, but also the master classes. And again, there's so many really refinements and detailed sort of next level stuff that Kelly brings that we wouldn't have in the program if it weren't for Kelly. So it's a beautiful synergy, and the ability for us to bring more to the table than just what Lee has to offer is really, I think, opened up a lot of possibilities, because everybody has different things to bring and different experiences to share.
Ben, may I jump in on that?
Please.
It's and Jenny's just mentioned it in the chat as well. Is one of the things that I appreciate so much in doing the one-to-ones is how unique everyone is, and supporting them, supporting you in your uniqueness. Some people are concerned, oh, Kelly, I don't move like you yet. And oh, I can't do Lee's words yet. And that's okay. Am I going to be a bad teacher until I can move this way and say these things and vibrate on this energy? And the answer is no, we're all on a path. And I'm certainly developed my teaching from 7 years ago, 8 years ago to now, but everybody's so unique. Morgan's energy and my energy, so different, right? And I just worked with Morgan recently, and it's all good. My point is that it's all good. This is the range of vibration that we have. We learn it when we go through the 5 elements in the first part of the course, in the first half of the course. I lead with fire of the 5 elements. Can you tell? Yeah. And Morgan has that quiet, slow, steady, beautiful, grounded, settled water kind of pace. And she will bring to her, she'll find the students, and the students will find her, that will benefit from her energy. And people who could benefit from my energy find me. And I love during the one-to-ones, I love supporting the trainees, supporting you in your individuality, in your unique expression of the energies and the teachings. And if I can be a little bit Taoist cosmological about it, it's like we're all the 10,000 things. We are all the unique expressions of what is still that foundational energy of yin and yang and 5 elements and 3 treasures. And I think Lee goes into that in weeks 9 through 12, or somewhere in there. It's we're still the same. We still have the same energies flowing through us. We manifest them uniquely, and each manifestation is of value. And I love working with that.
Beautiful. What a great principle. And, one of the things that's so helpful to understand, I think a lot of folks maybe struggle with a little bit when they start to consider embarking on a teaching journey and becoming a teacher, is that to help others, to help guide and lead and teach others, you really only need to be a few steps ahead of them. You have to be a little further on the path than they are to be able to guide them along. And I think Lee, you can speak to this, is that such a traditional part of learning is teaching.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. And we all teach in a unique way. And this was what I was going to say as a follow-up to what Kelly's doing. I always love working with Kelly, and I did some one-on-ones with Kelly, and Kelly always thought about the Qigong movements, her practice, in a very different way than I did. And it was always just refreshing, eye-opening. And by teaching, the reflection from your student gives you more insight into your own practice and into your own way of doing the practice. And then it expands a little bit more. And then you teach somebody else, and oh, that's interesting. They digest it through their mind, body, nervous system in that particular way. as I've digested it in this particular way, and we just keep expanding by teaching it, by teaching the material. And you know, what you said, Ben, is you just have to be a little further along, like, you know, a few more things, you've done a few more practices, and maybe some different practices. So it's a sharing, you know, of yourself and your practice and what you find relevant that is so important. And so it's true. When you start teaching it, you're going to learn it faster. You're going to learn it in deeper ways, and you're going to get a reflection and some insights that you wouldn't otherwise have. So sharing it a little bit, sharing it with your kids, sharing it with your friends, your family, anybody who might, you know, I used to just share it all over the place, and just like anybody who would give me their ear and, you know, attentiveness for a few minutes, you know, to start teaching it. And it was eye-opening to me that it just didn't resonate with some people. Some people had such an aversion to it, which gave me a little insight in their energy. And some people had this warm, welcoming, open-armed mindfulness about the practice, but then they never actually put it into practice. They just loved the theory of it. They loved watching it. They loved the explanation of it. But actually to get those people to move their bodies was extremely challenging. And so you just get to see where people are with their relationship to energy, because we all are energy. And what is that relationship like? It's just very insightful as you go into the teacher training. Start sharing it, whether it's, you know, a big scale, a small scale, you know, friends and family, people you don't know. It all gives us some really interesting insight on this human journey.
Very good. So Kelly, so we have a pretty clear idea of how you're using your certification to help other people who are on the path to certification. But other than that, other than the stuff you're doing within Holden QiGong, what are you doing with your Holden QiGong certification?
Absolutely. Thank you. I have, since COVID, I have 3 online classes a week. They're scheduled so that, that I can get a wide range of time zones into the sessions. And I tend to work with seniors, or so far, seniors have been the ones who have found my classes. I have gone into senior centers and to continuing education programs. I have also worked with people living with Parkinson's disease and people who are on a cancer journey, and the carers for all of those populations. Those were people who were coming to my open classes before COVID, so I pursued those directions. I've taught with at support groups and daycare centers for Parkinson's disease and for cancer. So that's one of the things I'm doing. And I have some plans for 2022 because there is a population I feel very heart connected to, and I feel that they are very underserved right now. And so I feel like I would like to share these practices with them, these practices that I think I'm just going to keep it a little bit on the at the moment as to who they are, until I'm ready to come out of the Qi closet. But
I'm now on the edge of my seat and I can't wait to hear about them.
But let me say that one of the themes that I find so immensely valuable in these practices is having tools to help oneself to return to equilibrium, to return to balance. There is so much, even before COVID, there was enough in our lives to take us out of balance. And now there's just more. So having a skill set that can return oneself to balance and help others to return to balance is it's an important theme for me. And in balance, why balance? Well, in balance, in that range of equilibrium, in what Western science would call homeostasis, it is where we function best. It's where we function best physiologically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. And we can go high and we can go low, but hopefully not for too long and not for too high and not for too low. We function best in that range of equilibrium. So offering skills for people to manage that for themselves in an environment of chaos and stress that will pull them out of equilibrium is important to me. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on in 2022.
Beautiful. Last question. What would you say to somebody who's out there right now thinking about enrolling?
Well, I think you said it, Ben, earlier. Listen to your gut, listen to your inner knowing. And that is one of the things that Qigong has helped me to cultivate as well, is a greater sense of inner knowing and having more confidence in that. But listen to it, that small voice inside. And I think this is what I might have said this before. Jump on in, the water's fine here. The water's good. And I think Joe was saying that earlier about, deep diving. It's an exciting deep dive, and it's a deep dive that will keep giving back to you. So yes, listen to yourself and come on in. The water is great. And I will also say that because I've been with Lee since before Ben.
Yeah, I think just a little
around
bit
that,
before, because you were around
time.
when I started doing the teacher trainings. So yeah.
So I would just like to reaffirm the strength of the container. It's one of the things we talk about in Qigong, the container for the teachings. Lee's bringing the teachings, and Ben and team,
Yeah.
Amber and Jenny and Robin and Todd, and the list goes on. Zach is here as well. There is a growing team that is building that and reinforcing and strengthening and expanding this beautiful container to hold your interest in the practices, your commitment to the practices. You're going to be well held. That's what I'm trying to say. You will be well held here. So my gratitude to Ben and everybody who's part of the team that I've seen build over the years. It's really exciting.
Thank you for saying that, Kelly. It's very sweet. And I agree wholeheartedly. This team is incredible, and they absolutely will do their best to make sure that you're well held. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
And then, Lee, I don't have to say more about Lee bringing the great Qi, because my fellow teachers here today have already said so much about that. So know that is there, and always my gratitude.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kelly, for coming today. As always, you bring a lot of joy. And also, there have been a couple of folks just in the chat saying, hey, I'm teaching seniors too. How could I come to Kelly's class or what have you? So feel free to put your contact info in the chat if you wish, Kelly.
Pleasure.
Anybody who wants to get in touch with Kelly, you're welcome to. And thanks again for coming. And we'll see you very soon.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Excellent. So folks, we're going to stick around for a while, about as long as we have some time to stick around for and answer questions. But first, I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of housekeeping at the moment, and just fill you in on what exactly is going on around here, and how to find out more, in case you are a little bit confused and that was all exciting, but you're not sure where to go. So just wanted to make sure it's clear what it is that we're doing here. And this is self-paced Qigong teacher training. It's 16 weeks worth of content as we drip it out over 16 weeks, but you can take anywhere from 6 months to, as you heard before, several years to do it at your own pace. It's over 80 hours of instruction at this point. So it's a very rich, deep, and comprehensive program. And we also have 2 monthly master classes every month with expert instructors like Kelly, among a number of others. We've got quite a few, I think 20 something already, maybe more, in our library that you have immediate access to, although we encourage you to go through the training first and not get too distracted. But if there's topics there that jump out at you, jump on in. You do get access to Lee once a month. We have a live Q&A group Zoom call once a month for teacher certification students. And oh shoot, we've got over 78 of the master classes now already in the library. We do have a private online community for the students who are in the teacher certification program. And then as you're working your way towards completion, we do offer, as part of it, you do get 2 senior instructor one-on-one lessons. That's to really help you kind of dial it in and get the feedback that you might need at that stage in the game. And of course, you get a, there is a manual, there's some written material. It's not huge, it's 50 pages or something like that, maybe a little more. So that's available as well. And when you sign up in the next 2 days, between now and January 7th, midnight tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, Friday night, we do have a $500 discount going on. So if that's you and you're interested, please click on the links in the chat. There's the Qigong /teaching link is going to take you to the information. There's tons of information on the page. All about it. And if you're looking for the certification requirements, they're also included there. So you can dive in and feel free to make sure to be aware there is a frequently asked questions section down near the bottom. So if you dive in there, you'll often find answers to some of the logistical questions that people tend to have. But we are going to start also taking questions from folks now. One more thing about it, excuse me, one more thing about what's going on is that if you want to have a call with one of the people who've been through the training and get to talk to somebody and just kind of, you know, for me, I actually figure out best what I think by hearing it come out of my mouth. I'm kind of wired that way. Peter Drucker said there's people learn 3 different ways: reading, hearing, and talking. And I'm one of those weirdos who's in that 3rd category. So for me, it's always helpful to just talk to somebody about it, even anybody really. Well, we've got people available to help you who've been through the training and can help answer any questions or make sure to get the answers to any questions that you may have. And just help you, you know, talk it over. They're not going to make the decision for you. They're not salespeople. They're not going to push you in any way. They're just there to be a sounding board and also to help make some clarifications where that might be helpful to you. So if you would like to take advantage of that, please do click on the link Amber's putting in the chat. It's qigo.ng/get-clarity. It's in the chat, and we'll put that up a few more times before the end of this session. If you do schedule that call before midnight on Friday night, and the call doesn't happen for a while because we've got times on the schedule going out a couple of weeks almost, that's fine. We'll still honor the special deal, even though it finishes at midnight. If you've scheduled your call ahead of time prior to the deadline, we will honor the special pricing this week after your call. So that's how that works. Going to be taking questions now. So if you have questions, and we're not going to be doing any raise hand questions. We're very short on time. So we've got about 20 minutes to do questions. And I know there's always a lot, and I've seen a lot flow through already. So we're going to be doing it rapid fire style in the chat. So if you're over on Facebook and you want to ask your questions and you haven't been able to get answers from the team, you're welcome to come on over to Zoom. There should be a comment pinned there, and get your questions into the Zoom chat for either myself or Lee to answer. And if you're here in Zoom and you have questions, then now is a great time to start loading up the chat with those questions. And I know we have some from before as well. Manette. I have a call set up, so I'll ask the questions I've posed in the chat with this person. That's fine. You also are welcome to pose them again. And actually, I'll be looking at some of the questions that have already come through. So we may answer your question, Manette, now as it is. So don't, but yes, and. It's not an either or, it's a yes and would be the answer. The folks who are going to be jumping on the call with you are going to be students who've been through the training. So it's people who've actually done what you're setting out to do. So it's possible if you have questions that are more on a logistical nature, then they may or may not be the best person to answer those, but they'll certainly be able to help you get the answers that you need in those cases. So are we still exploring being able to offer CEUs on the course? Yes, we're always exploring that, and it has come and gone in the most unusual of ways, wouldn't you say, Lee? It's like we had them for a minute, and then they went away, and so I'm not sure exactly.
Adam, what did we have?
CEUs.
CEUs. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We had them for a few minutes, then they went away, and then we had them for a few more minutes, and we can get them again. You know, that's need to put some focused energy on it.
That's right. So yeah, what I would say is two things about CEUs. One is that the CEUs are available almost always to people who send in to their certifying body. Hey, I did this thing and I'm going to get CEUs for it. The answer has almost always been yes, from what we've heard. And that's including all sorts of things: chiropractors, nursing, massage therapists, etc. We have in the past and probably will again, but I wouldn't make a decision based on when this will happen. CEUs available for acupuncture through the California Acupuncture Board. And as usual, many of the states in the US honor those California board. And then it's sort of the most stringent requirements supposedly. So it seems as though also if you were to write into your certifying body for other acupuncture boards in other states, they generally are like, oh, California does it? Sure, then we'll honor that. Signed up for the program last week and brand new. Don't intend to teach, only want to delve deeper. Do I still need to get the actual certification? No, Leslie, a lot of people do that. A lot of people sign up because they want to go deep. They want to learn. They want to dive in and go full on and understand these principles and start applying them in their own life, but don't necessarily want to become a teacher and actually teach other folks. We also have a lot of people who sign up and feel that way, but then as they get deeper into it, they're like, I got to share this with people. So they end up teaching. But we do have a lot of people who just never bothered to do the final certification requirements. That's perfectly okay. You're here for your own reasons. We have the certifying process available for those who want that, and certainly no need for those who don't. Deborah, that isn't a teacher training question, but you're welcome to bring it to class. Next question is, I wonder how doing this work online compared to the frame of real life meetings. Sidso, that's a great question. One of the things that Kelly kind of alluded to is that the review capability is profound. And so one of the things that she said in previous times we've done this is that the quality and the level of experience that people show up with when they come to do their one-on-ones with her, now that it's available in this self-paced online format, is a lot higher. She is giving some thumbs up. Kelly, do you want to speak to that briefly? That'd be great.
Yeah, happy to. Having been with the program a long time, from live only through the development of the online and videos, what I see is that because you can take your time in a pace that's right for you, because you can go back and review, and because energy is everywhere, so we can feel it and sense it in ourselves. We can activate it in ourselves. It's when it's inspired by that teacher, by that program, that when people arrive to me towards the end of the 16 weeks for their one-to-one sessions, I see trainees who are knowledgeable, who are embodied, who have capacity and understanding with the movements, who are building their skill with the language, being able to say the material while they are, even while they're moving. And it's a really good step in the journey, because as Ben was saying earlier, and Lee has said as well, once you get your certificate and you start doing this more, perhaps, then you start the next stage of the journey when you really, you learn how to teach, right? First you learn, and then you learn how to teach. And part of that comes from actually doing. But I am so encouraged by how capable the trainees are when they arrive to me. And I think part of that capacity comes from enthusiasm. Hey, I really like this material. I want to learn it. I want to practice. I want to engage with it. And there, as I said, there is this, because you can self-pace it, you can it's available to digest at the pace that is right for you. Ben said it earlier. Some people like 16 weeks in one day. Hello, here I am ready to have my one-to-ones. Like, great, wonderful. Some people a year.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I had some stuff going on in my life. I needed to, pace myself. I think there is tremendous. People arrive to me with really good capability. Also, what's been added is some of the useful master classes have been plugged into the weekly modules. So you get more support. I mean, you get Lee and us helping you along the way. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Well, thank you, Kelly. That's great. I
Fine.
appreciate that. It's fun having Kelly here as a sort of an insight into what the students show up with after they've gone through the training. And I'll say, certainly, some folks are asking questions about whether there are live trainings available, and also, what the difference is. We will be doing live retreats again, another day, someday. Glad we didn't schedule them for this winter, because we would have had to cancel them all. But we're definitely, it's a thing, of course, when things return back to normals, we'll be doing those. However, to become a certified teacher, this is the program that you'll have to go through, for the reasons that you just heard from Kelly, that the digestion is complete, that you're able to really internalize the work and then show up with that experience. But coming for the 5 elements week-long in-person retreat, coming for a 3 treasures week-long in-person retreat is a profound and rich and transformational experience. And so we're sort of having the curriculum and the coursework and the intellectual and the academic piece separated out now allows us to really make that experience all the more transformational and experiential. Wouldn't you say that, Lee, is the case? I know certainly when we do them here in Santa Cruz, I'm not sure how we'll be able to do this anymore, because I think we'll have more than 20 people. But when we do them here in Santa Cruz, it's just been such a rich experience, and we go out in nature and get to do Qigong outside and in a large group, which is a profound experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just so much that both of these have to offer, whether it's the online or the in-person. It's great to be able to combine them and come and get that transformational experience, meet great friends, develop a community, have a, as one of our teacher trainers said, one of the best weeks of your life, doing Qigong on the beach with the dolphins and the redwoods and having tea and laughing and all that. I just miss that so much. But then to be able to have this program where you can go back and go, okay, I was blissed out when I was in Santa Cruz all week, and now what do I remember? And then you can come back and really get into the details of the training, your personal practice, and this online course. It's so well organized by the team, and a testament to Ben's skill at putting things together and taking content and organizing it and making it digestible in a way that you can assimilate it in such a great way. I'm just so happy that we've been able to do that, and people have had great experiences. I've just heard over and over again what a great experience it is to go into this teacher training online and learn these ancient practices in this very modern way and make it applicable to your life in so many ways, whether it's self-healing, mental, emotional balance, or bringing it into a new career. It can just be profound in all those shifts. And so, I'm excited that we're going to be able to create some new live experiences. Ben and I have been talking about what the shape of that will look like.
Mhm.
And then be able to have this online connected community as a program is going to be a great yin yang balance, really.
Yep, absolutely. And so if you do participate in the teacher training, it's made up of two core curricula. One is the 5 elements course. The other one is the 3 treasures course. And then there's all this stuff kind of baked into that and practice schedule and so forth. If you decide at a later time to come to one of those retreats, if we offer a 5 elements retreat again and a 3 treasures retreat, then you get half price because you're kind of repeating that curriculum. So those of you who do want to come in person are certainly welcome to take advantage of that when the time comes. But you're not required to come in person. You can get fully certified from the other side of the world at this tier. There are higher tiers. There is in-person requirements for some higher tier work because at that point we're starting to work with a little more potency in that transmission, and it becomes an important factor. But as we were saying before, you're a few steps further down the path, then you can really help people. And this work is safe. None of the work that we do here is, playing with fire per se. And so it's a beautiful thing to really be able to share it with people and have them get immediate results. So that's one of the things that is a big part of why we do it the way we do it. Yeah, Deidre, clarifying 2 one-on-one trainings in person. No, they are offered virtually via Zoom, just like the rest of the program. Manette has asked a couple of questions about getting through the program. So he said, if we do the training materials without repeating and revisiting, it's about 2 weeks of 6-hour days. Yes, that's true-ish. However, we drip it out over 16 weeks. So, and the reason for that is we really want you to work on the curriculum, which is about 3.5 hours per week of curriculum, including the practices, and then practice the practices enough to get your practice hours in and really internalize that piece and be prepared to take a quiz on that piece before moving on to the next piece. So you can't do it in 2 weeks. That's not really an option with this type of training. And that's part of the reason why the quality is so much higher, is that you actually have to digest and take the time to experience it and have those unfoldments happen before moving on to the next piece. So people usually do significant repetition, extended deepening work. Many people, I would say average is probably closer to a year than the 6 months that you could get through it in. Average time for those who are serious about certification is closer to a year. Most people take somewhere between 9 months and a year if they're doing it attentively and wanting to get through it, but also really deepen it. There are, the quickest ever was under 6 months actually, and very impressive work. It was Dror. He'd been coming to weekly classes with Lee in Santa Cruz for a very long time. He was able to get through it very quickly. More advanced trainings, how many levels, and about the same price per tier. We have a tier 2 that a very few people have achieved, and other folks, many of our tier 1 trainees or certified teachers now are working on. It is a similar price point. There's additional trainings, some of which are available now online, some of which aren't yet, but will be. And then there is also an in-person advanced teacher week. That's part of the tier 2. Then there are other subsequent tiers that we've sort of mapped out, but nobody's really there yet. So we haven't had the demand to really put those trainings together and actually do them. So that'll be out there in the future, but we're just sort of getting there now. So good question, Minette. Jenny's also mentioning as the teacher liaison for the program. Thank you, Jenny, so much for being here. I think Lee will also vouch that you're an enormous asset to the team, and having you here has made things move a lot more smoothly. And I know a lot of students have taken full advantage of your availability to help them out. So for those, would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, Ben, Jenny's been such a great asset. And, you know, the other thing about Jenny is she's an acupuncturist. So being an acupuncturist, a meditator, a Qigong practitioner is just a great addition, because people can ask, you know, energetic questions. You know, her mind thinks in energy talk, as we acupuncturists do, which is a very different way of thinking about life and our health and even what our goals might be. And so it's just been great. Jenny and I get together once a week. We talk about questions. We talk about the teacher training. We do some visioning, and it's just been a great addition to the team. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. I am so happy to be here. As Lee and I joke back and forth, I manifested this, or maybe you manifested me. It's my dream job. Yeah, I have a background in TCM. I actually shared some of the teachers with Lee and Lita. I also have a master's of divinity, and I was a Buddhist chaplain. So putting these two roles together, I'm here just like Kelly to celebrate your uniqueness, to answer your questions. Some of this material is really hard to grasp sometimes, so I can help ground that. But yeah, you can always have the opportunity to schedule a one-on-one with me, and I'm just here to help you navigate the program and just the way it can fit into your schedule. So it takes a lot of fear away to understand some of these things, and we're always here for you. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jenny.
You bet.
So yes, we've got a full-time teacher liaison here to help you out and to help guide and just sort of clarify and help you move through it with more grace and ease. Few questions coming through, quite a few, about certification being recognized in some accreditation or some external body. You know, the thing about it is right now there isn't one. You know, a lot of people have in their experience Yoga Alliance as a certifying body that has been recognized by governments as a sort of the thing that certifies yoga teacher trainings. There isn't one for Qigong yet. We're really here in the US, I would say, about 25 years behind yoga in terms of awareness. But that also means in terms of the maturity of all the systems and organizations and so forth that are here in the US to allow for things like that to happen. So at this point, there really is no external certifying body or accrediting body. And so when you become certified through our program, we offer you a Holden Qigong certification. Now, we did make sure that our certification was compatible with a couple of others. One is the National Qigong Association here in the US, which is a body that isn't recognized in any government way. It's not an accreditation body, but it is a body that offers its own certification. So ours is compatible with theirs. And the other one is Universal Healing Tao, which is Montauk Chia's system. And Lee, I think you could speak to how ours dovetails with Montauk's.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Montauk Chia was the first place I got certified. And I wrote a bunch of Montauk Chia's books as part of his writing team and his ghostwriters in my early 20s. I think I was one of his youngest senior teachers when I was like 24, 25. I was a senior teacher for him. And so a lot of our content is distilled and some of Montauk Chia's content in a different way, the way in which I've been able to assimilate it, practice it myself, and then teach it to Westerners in a way that's understandable and practical. And so if you get certified through us, you also get an associate instructorship with him and his organization. That being said, there's been some challenge, especially during COVID, of our teachers getting through to his organization, being that it's in Thailand and there's some things like that. But, you know, our two organizations work very well together. If you like a little more esoteric, cosmic kind of language, then Montauk Chia is definitely a fun place to study. And you'll see a lot of overlap in our system. So yeah, Montauk Chias and the National Qigong Association, those are great. You know, I feel like they're really grounded in tradition, and you'll see how these boards probably are coming together in more organized ways as the time goes on.
Yep. Absolutely. Well said. Yeah, it's sort of an interesting thing. It's just so, you know, it's a little Wild West still. So we're doing our best to be kind of compatible with other organizations and maintain those connections with them. We're really all on the same mission. So we're happy to work with them where we can. There are a few questions, just a couple that floated through earlier about liability. So are there recommendations for liability forms, organizations that might cover liability concerns? Certainly a lot of places, if you want to come teach at their facility, you have to get insurance. It's not a difficult thing to do. And there is some coverage of that in the master classes. So that's available. And certainly people around here who can answer those questions and help you. It really depends on where you are and what jurisdictions you're in. So the other thing is to sort of work with other folks through the community who've solved those problems in your area. So for example, we have people, you know, we have detailed instructions for the UK, for example, that wouldn't necessarily apply if you're trying to teach in Czechoslovakia and trying to figure out what the liability requirements are. But we certainly have some training around that for our primary area, the US, and a lot of the states here are very similar, and the UK. Ben referred to tier 1. How many tiers are there and what are the differences? The tiers that we've mapped out go through tier 4, which is a very long journey. It's about a 10 years of teaching by the time you would reach a tier 4 level. And the really the point at which we get beyond tier 2, we're starting to get into a lot of breadth and depth at the same time. So these are very advanced. Tier 2 is a 500-hour certification that builds on your 200 hours. So it's another 300 hours of mostly teaching, but also practice, in addition to 2 more similarly sized trainings. So a similar curriculum to the tier 1 curriculum in terms of size and cost to do the tier 2 certifications if you wish. So that's available now. And then there's elements of the tier 3 and tier 4 that are out there in the future that aren't yet taught because we just don't have a bunch of tier 2 teachers ready for them yet, but we will. What is the timeline required to complete the course, Deb? It's totally self-paced. When I do the math on the prices, it looks as if there's no discount applied to the financing options, 3-month and 12-month. If you, I believe it's coupon code based, somebody can correct me in Slack if need be. And if you use the coupon code, it should adjust those. However, there is, as always with these payment plan things, when we become your bank, there's a little bit of a change where, you know, it costs a little more to do a payment plan total cost than it is to do a pay in full. So in our case, if you do a pay in full, it's going to be discounted by 500. It's $29.97. And then if you use the coupon code, all the payment plans would be discounted by a similar amount spread over the 12 months or the 3 months. So that's hopefully a clarification on that. Lee, I know you need to get going. Head off to class. Do you have any parting thoughts? I'm going to stick around just a few more minutes, but then we're going to have to shut this down so we can warm up our Zoom room for class. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, time to go teach some Qigong. Well, it's been wonderful. You guys inspire me every time we get on a call like this. I'm just so look forward to hearing your stories, hearing from our teachers, and you know, getting more and more people interested in teaching this beautiful art so we can create more healing in this world that's much needed. So again, great to all get together and be here with you all, and hope to see you in the teacher training, if not now, at some point, and many blessings. Thanks all.
Thanks, Lee. See you soon. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to have time for just a few more. Robin clarified, there is no checkout. I mean, sorry, there is no coupon code, right? We've done that other times, but it's easier just to give a discount. It's baked into the checkout form. So there you have it. By the way, I am answering questions in the doc. So if you haven't heard your answer, trying to get through as many as I can. And some people are asking questions that aren't about teacher training. And so I'm not answering those, just in case you're wondering, because we have a live class in just a few minutes. And I kind of need to give up the Zoom room. So I am getting through as many as I can. And when are people able to begin student teaching? Is there a particular module? Kim, actually, no. But the time at which we recommend it is to kind of get through the coursework, and then at the latest start doing your student teaching at that point, once you're done with the coursework and while you're working toward the other requirements, your one-on-ones, et cetera. All the certification requirements are easiest to find on the page and are laid out both on the page itself, but also in the frequently asked questions. And we will be sending an email with frequently asked questions, and that includes the details of the certification requirements. So I'm not going to list them right now because we are short on time, but they're pretty easy to find that way. And you really can start anytime. Some folks are already teaching something, and so they start folding in Qigong into their existing classes to start to get their practice hours. Other people have to get a little group of their family and friends together, like, teach their spouse or what have you, in order to get their practice teaching hours. And that's totally fine. It's usually not hard to get people who are interested in learning and are happy to learn from you. So the thing I would say is just everybody's circumstance is different. Whenever you're confident to start teaching just a little bit, go ahead. There's not a requirement to wait. Again, because everybody's circumstances are different. Some people are already experienced teachers, and other people need to wait until they feel more confident internally to even get in front of somebody, and just one person, and teach. And it's different for everybody. We handled that. Deborah is asking, Deborah, you're going to need to talk to somebody on the team about the tier 1 requirements, but essentially the short answer is that our certification is its own thing, and your prior experience in other organizations isn't necessarily a factor. So we can't really just sort of start you at tier 2. Even folks who went through the original old school Lee Holden certification, because it was a 150-hour certification, and then we transitioned to a 200-hour, and also moved this content online. And we've sort of had those people go through a little bit of a process as well for becoming a Holden Qigong certified teacher. So what I would say is just talk to somebody on the team through support channel, not necessarily a clarity call, but talk to somebody right into support. Let them know you want to talk to somebody about your prior experience and what you're building on there, Deborah, and we'll just figure it out. Vicky is asking, are there any scholarships available for the teacher training program? Not really at this time. Any other questions? It is time for us to drop in just a minute. So if you have any other questions, please do write them on in to support@holdenqigong.com, and or jump on a clarity call. You're welcome to schedule that. The link is in the chat, and we will do our best to answer as many as we can and make sure that you get them all answered. But I feel like we've answered quite a few today. So hopefully that's been helpful for everyone who stuck around this long and stuck it out. This is a very long Zoom call, y'all. Those of you who are part of the video class subscription are going to be able to get up in a few minutes and move around and get some Qigong in. And those of you who are not, maybe you'll have a chance to do the same. It depends on what you have to go off and do next. But it is time for us to go off and teach a live class. And it is therefore time to bring this to a close. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thanks for having an attentive ear and listening to the stories of some of our teachers and some of our trainees. And thanks for asking so many good questions. And we are looking forward to seeing anybody who decides they want to join us in the community and inside the teacher training program. And in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. And if we don't see you in class soon, we'll see you online some other day. Take care. Bye all.